Democrat Congresswoman Andrea Salinas won a close race in November, beating Republican Mike Erikson in Oregon's new 6th congressional district. The 6th district includes all of Yamhill and Polk counties, a section of Marion County that includes Salem and Woodburn, parts of Beaverton, as well as Tigard, Tualatin, and Sherwood. Congresswoman Salinas served in the Oregon legislature before being elected to Congress. She's a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus as well as the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Congresswoman Salinas, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, you are on I'm looking at your committees here. You're on the House Agriculture Committee. That represents a large section of your district in terms of being rural. It also includes Oregon wine country, which is a big industry right here in Oregon. The House is reconsidering the reauthorization of the Farm Bill. What's in there that could help Oregon?
Well, if I have anything to say about it, and I have been trying to influence this bill and working with my Republican colleagues, honestly, to figure out, first of all, how we address wildfires here in the Pacific Northwest, along the West Coast. We're seeing it, everywhere. We know we have had such beautiful summers in the past, but with climate change, we're not seeing the same kind of weather patterns, and wildfires are becoming a way of life. So I actually have a bill that again, has bipartisan support, and it will enhance the number of on-the-ground wildland firefighters we have across the nation, but specifically here in Oregon. We actually have 3 centers that do the training for these wildland firefighters, but I would like to cut through some of that red tape so we can get them hired faster, make sure they're boots on the ground, make sure they have signing bonuses to attract them to this kind of work, because these are young professionals, about 18 to 24 years old, just starting careers, but it is really hard and dangerous work. We need to attract more workers.
What's the status of the Farm Bill right now, and do you think it'll pass?
So that is a big question. It's kind of a big elephant in the room. The status is that we are still working to pull it together. It is authorized through the end of the year, so December 31st is when the authorization ends. We're hoping to get something started by September, so the package is supposed to start coming together. But we also know that we're facing some appropriations and budget bills over the next 12 days that we have when we go back in September. So the Farm Bill, I think, is kind of being put a little bit on the back burner right now.
Okay, so stay tuned.
That's
is what
right.
You're saying there. Salem is in your district, and the city just authorized commercial flights in and out of the city starting in October. What will that mean for the city of Salem?
Oh, I think that could mean huge economic development for the city of Salem. I actually took a tour out there. They're going to be starting, flights to and from Las Vegas. I think they're really excited. I'm trying to get some actual federal dollars to help with the enhancement around the airport to make sure that it's safe, safe for passengers within the facility. So I think it's going to mean big economic development and growth for Salem and its economy and its people. So I'm excited.
Yeah, another one of your committees, the House Science, Space, Technology Committee. The CHIPS Act was signed a year ago. So how is Oregon benefiting from the CHIPS Act so far?
I think I read a story recently that essentially said Intel is the biggest winner of this CHIPS and Science Act. And for people who don't understand, I think what happened it was around the early 90s. We started to see chips manufacturing, semiconductor chips manufacturing in the U.S. Offshore. And so companies started moving the manufacturing of those chips offshore. Well, what we saw during the pandemic were supply chain disruptions because we were relying on foreign countries for those chips for our cars and refrigerators and microwaves and computers and that sort of thing. We are now repatriating all that work back here to the United States of America. And guess where we manufacture chips? Right here in Oregon, right here in the 6th district. I have Lamb Research. We do chips manufacturing right in my district. We do advanced manufacturing, and those advanced manufacturing for parts and different parts for semiconductor chips are also included. So I think we are going to see a wealth of dollars invested here in the 6th district.
And Intel is actually investing more in the state as we speak, correct?
That's right. In fact, we are seeing other investors from outside countries starting to invest again, both here in Oregon and across the U.S. because of this bill.
You're pro-choice, and since the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs decision, how are abortion and gender issues being dealt with on the national level, and is there any impact on Oregon since we pretty much codified the right here in this state?
This is a big question, Ken, and thank you. So what I will say is, stepping back to the Dobbs decision, that was an incredibly hurtful decision to women across the U.S. People who, women who have had the ability to make their own decisions about their body and their autonomy and their economic future. I take it back to economics, right? If you can't decide whether and when to start a family or have a child, you are also not free to decide whether or not you work and what kind of working conditions you have. So this is a huge right that has been taken away from women across the U.S. And in 15 states, it's been made illegal. Our neighboring state of Idaho, and it does have an impact here in Oregon, because we are now seeing people coming from different states knowing that they can access care. However, providers themselves are under attack and under assault right now, and we have a lack of providers. I was just at one of my medical centers earlier this week in the 6th District, and they basically said we are losing OBGYNs who are either not serving anymore, not practicing, and we're not recruiting them because of the fear of legal backlash. And so this is going to be not just an issue for women who want abortions, but women who actually want safe deliveries of a full-term pregnancy.
Mental health issues have been a concern of yours as well in Oregon. We're dealing with it. We see it on the street here in Portland, even though Portland is not in your district. Is there any movement on a national approach to solving the mental health problem? Because we're not the only area that's seeing the impacts of this.
That's right. And this is a big issue where I think there is a lot of bipartisan concern and bipartisan support for finding some solutions, because as you just stated, it is a nationwide problem, and I feel like it's pretty intense here. And I think the reason it feels more acute here is because while we rank very high in Oregon's mental health challenges, we rank very low in access to providers and to care. So I have actually started what I call my Mental Health Mondays to raise awareness, to reduce stigma, and to let people know that there are resources available and that it's an issue that I am working on. And I have started with a bill that I'm going to introduce actually in September that will provide 3 no-cost share visits for those who are under Medicare or Medicaid. And that will address the financial barrier. I realize it doesn't actually address the access barrier and the providers that we need, but I know I have colleagues on both sides of the aisle who are eager to jump in and continue to work on this.
All right. One thing I want to ask you about before we leave, I want your thoughts on the Trump indictments regarding the alleged election interference in Georgia, Trump's role in January 6th. He's dealing with a lot of legal challenges now, and we just saw the mugshot this week in Fulton County, Georgia. What are your thoughts on what's going on with Mr. Trump?
I always try to take a step back and understand what this means in the larger context. And what I keep hearing from folks is, and we see it in polling, is that people distrust government. They distrust our very democratic institutions. And Ken, if you or I had the same grand jury indictments against us, we would go to trial. And and I would expect that we would see a conviction. So I think the way that we reinforce our institutions is by holding everybody to the same legal standards, and that includes past presidents. And so I would expect the same of you or I if we, did any of the things that, are alleged here to be put up to the same kind of scrutiny, and I expect for the same for our former president.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Andrea Salinas. We appreciate you being here on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you so much. It's been great.